In today's NFL Daily video, we're taking a look at some of the top destinations for LeSean McCoy, still an NFL free agent. Now, McCoy's going to turn 32 later in July, but I believe he can still contribute in the NFL. With that said, if we're being honest and upfront, the track record for aging backs is not very strong in terms of production and even having much interest in free agency. I think there are some good landing spots for McCoy. One in particular that we'll save to the very end makes the most sense to me. But I could also see a scenario where LeSean McCoy waits to sign until there is an injury. We kind of saw something similar with Adrian Peterson to an extent. Fits a similar mold. In aging back, there was an injury at running back, and still they got a chance to be a starter and impressed. What helps McCoy in particular is that he's a very good pass-catching back. Is he as good as, say, Tariq Cohen? No, not really, but he can't help in that regard, and that matters in the NFL. The NFL is very ageist. They don't want older players. They're more expensive. They're normally slower, and oftentimes they don't help on third downs or special teams. McCoy, not much of a special teamer, but he does help on passing downs. One very large potential red flag, and probably a big reason why McCoy still remains unsigned, is the production drop-off. The first half of last year, when McCoy played in all 8 games, he was good. Averaged over 5 yards per carry, and it was involved in the passing game. The second half of the year, he fell out of favor in Kansas City. The volume went down, but so did the efficiency. The yards per carry dropped substantially. I think McCoy's somewhere in the middle there. That is a bit of a red flag. Now, before we dive into the top 5 teams for LeSean McCoy, let me know in the comments who your favorite NFL team is. And oh, by the way, if you want them to sign McCoy, go ahead and like this video. Now, in case you guys have missed this, we have launched our new Next Channel Challenge here at Chat Sports. We've built up channels for all 32 NFL teams. Once 100 subs is reached on that particular channel, whatever your favorite team is, we'll send you guys a video. The Cleveland Browns already got to 100. Who's next? And if you guys have success, and if that channel does well, and if you guys bring it like our Seahawks fans did, it might become the next full-time channel at Chat Sports. Now down to number 5, the Chicago Bears. Again, not great options for McCoy here, but I think the Bears make some sense. They're going to lean on their run game because, well, you don't want to let Foles and Trubisky throw it 30 to 35 times each game. Now, David Montgomery very clearly is the starter for the Chicago Bears, but there are carries available. The depth in Chicago, it's okay. It's not great. You could argue maybe it's not even okay. Now, Montgomery's going to be your lead running back. Tariq Cohen, make no mistake, is going to be the lead pass-catching back, if that makes sense. Like, Montgomery, 242 carries. Cohen only had 64. But Cohen got 79 passes, only for 456 yards, though. So Cohen's not really going to be a guy who gets a ton of carries for the Chicago Bears team, at least if last year's any indication. So that means Montgomery is your number 1 back. Behind him, Ryan Nall, Artavis Pierce, and Napoleon Maxwell, who sounds like a created name in a random Madden 20 draft class. Those guys don't move the needle. So because Cohen offers you special teams value, you might be able to have a third back on the roster that doesn't fill that role because Cohen's going to be your return man. So from that perspective, I think the Bears make some sense. Now we're going to make this question the pinned comment on today's video. I'm going through my top 5 teams, but I want to hear from you. Where do you think LeSean McCoy will play in 2020? Make your best guesses, especially with the ad break here on YouTube. Just scroll on down to that pinned comment. Number 4, the Jacksonville Jags. They're next up here. Behind Leonard Fournette, I don't really like the depth. Now, I'm not going to pretend that McCoy is going to come in and usurp Fournette, but frankly, McCoy's not going to start anywhere in the NFL. The biggest concern for me is kind of almost tied into one, but it involves concerns on both sides. The Jags are rebuilding. Are they going to want and choose and desire to go after a veteran at running back as opposed to seeing what these mid-round, late-round draft picks, UDFAs, can contribute? And then for McCoy, does he want to go to a non-contender? Does he want to go to a team that's not going to win games, that's not going to be competitive at the same level he is accustomed to? I think it's a fair question mark. Now, as for the Jags here in terms of the depth behind Fournette, Chris Thompson can be a good pass catcher. That's his best role. Raquel Armstead's a former 5th-round pick out of Temple. I don't know if that's really going to move the needle. bunch of either current UDFAs or former UDFAs. So from a need perspective, I think the Jags make sense. I'm just not convinced they're really going to pursue it. Now, some other spots that I wanted to, at least shout out here. Tennessee would have been on here, but I think they're going to roll with Darrington Evans, their third-round pick, as the backup/rotation piece to pair with Derrick Henry. The Dolphins, maybe, but Jordan Howard, and they got Matt Breida. Maybe that's what they end up sticking with there. The Buffalo Bills, a reunion, probably not the path things end up going, but if Zach Moss gets hurt or Devin Singletary gets hurt, maybe it makes some more sense. Now, of course, we don't want anyone to get hurt. We want you all to stay safe, too. Head over to chatsports.com/stay safe. If there are NFL games with fans, probably going to have to be wearing masks this year, so why not wear a mask that reps your favorite team as well? They're available 3 for $24.99. That way you can wash them and they don't smell like crap. It's chatsports.com/stay safe. We will put that link in the comments and the description for you guys. So all you have to do is click shop and order for your favorite NFL team. Funny that we end there on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they're number 3 on our top LeSean McCoy destinations. They had some interest in Devonta Freeman, but per Bruce Arians, he was quote-unquote too expensive. Okay, if McCoy's going to be cheaper then, right? Now, McCoy could fill a very similar role for the Bucs as Freeman does. I think they're going to try to unleash Ronald Jones this year, or maybe hope that Jones unleashes himself. They spent a premium pick on Keyshawn Vaughn. I wonder if that's enough for Tampa, if they trust that group enough. Clearly, I guess there's some doubt there because they did explore Devonta Freeman. Now, I think Rojo could have that breakout year. Vaughn could be an option there. Dare Ogunbowale, toughest name in the NFL, is a pass-catching back. Raymond Calais and TJ Logan are special teams guys. If you trust those 3, then I think you're going to pass on LeSean McCoy. But they explored Freeman, which makes me think at some level they're open to it. Now, I think from what we saw from Ronald Jones last year, he's better than LeSean McCoy. I wouldn't anticipate, regardless of where McCoy ends up going, unless there's injuries, he's going to be the featured back. But maybe Keyshawn Vaughn has a rough go in the preseason, or much like Ronald Jones in year 1, for whatever reason, he's slow to acclimate in Tampa. In that scenario, I think McCoy makes some sense for the Bucs. Now, Freeman and McCoy right now are the top 2 unsigned free agent running backs. Who would you rather have right now? Type F for Freeman, M for McCoy. Now, Freeman apparently wants a decent chunk of change. I'm going to factor in contracts into this equation because even though I think Freeman is a better overall player at this stage in their career, I'm going to go cheap. I'm going to go M for LeSean McCoy. Now to some spots that have some direct connections to LeSean. The Los Angeles Chargers. Now, they prioritize Austin Eckler over Melvin Gordon, paid him. They drafted Joshua Kelly out of UCLA in round 4 this year. But the connection, why it makes sense here, is that McCoy knows head coach Anthony Lynn quite well. Remember, before Lynn was the Chargers head coach, he spent time in Buffalo as an assistant coach. McCoy and Lynn know each other well there. The Chargers allegedly had interest back last year when the Bills originally cut LeSean McCoy. Eckler's going to be your starter, but he's valuable in the pass-catching game. You kind of want him as a 1A or a 1B. You need another piece there. Is it Justin Jackson? Is it Joshua Kelly? Maybe. Maybe it's not. Maybe you try and go 4 deep at running back this year and let Jackson and Kelly, especially in an abbreviated year where maybe the rookies have a tougher time acclimating than they normally would because the preseason and rookie minicamp and all that are abbreviated, truncated, or in the minicamp case, don't exist this year. Now, regardless of where McCoy signs, I think we're all aware that he is on the back end of his NFL career. He's not going to be there much longer. How many more years do you think McCoy has left? Maybe it's just 1, because we'll get to number 1 in a second. Maybe it's 2 or 3. Getting beyond age 33 season, age 34 season is very rare for a running back. The good news for McCoy, he does still show some flashes having that juice left in him. At number 1, I think this makes too much sense. How about the Philadelphia Eagles? Jordan Howard's gone. Darren Sproles is gone. You got Miles Sanders. He's going to have a breakout year. But who's behind him? What's the depth look like for Philadelphia? And on top of that, LeSean McCoy has expressed some interest in returning to Philly. Several players like Deshaun Jackson, they want to bring back LeSean McCoy. I think it makes sense. Now, if the Eagles still had Howard or Sproles, I'd change my mind, but I still want someone behind Miles Sanders. And don't take this the wrong way. This is not a shot at Miles Sanders whatsoever. I am excited to see what he does this year. I think he is primed for a major breakout season. I think he's going to emerge as a very, very good NFL back. But Boston Scott, Corey Clement, maybe Michael Warren's the guy. I low-key like him as a bruiser. But if Sanders goes down, Eagles fans, do you have confidence in Scott, Clement, Warren, Holyfield to be the guy? I don't. So if I'm Philadelphia, because I legitimately could use a number 2 back, I'm going to sign LeSean McCoy on the cheap. I'm going to bring that veteran presence back onto my team, and I'm going to let him be the backup to Miles Sanders. So to recap my top 5 top fits for LeSean McCoy, the Eagles at 1, I just love it. Chargers at 2, pretty good. Bucs at 3, Jags at 4, Bears at 5. It's not the best list, 'cause quite frankly, there aren't that many teams that need a back, which makes me wonder, maybe McCoy tries to wait even longer and see if there's an injury that allows him to go in and get a bigger role in 2020.